Georgia's National Guard is now stepping into into support ICE, taking over some of the administrative work so agents can focus more on enforcement. But a new 11Alive investigation finds many of those ICE arrests in our state are tied to low-level, often non-violent charges. It's raising new questions about enforcement priorities and what the real impact will be on Georgia families and community. Here now with us is Elisa Covarrubias. She is the Deputy Director of GALEO Impact Fund. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, Elise, when you see the National Guard stepping in to support ICE here in Georgia, what's your first reaction to that?
Number one, I think it's not a good use of the National Guard's time. Just like what we're seeing even in DC, we've seen pictures of the National Guard picking up trash and things of that sort. So first of all, I think it's a gross misuse of the National Guard's time. And secondly, we already have a ton of people detained here in Georgia. We are one of the states with the highest number of people detained. And as you mentioned, many of them for low-level offenses and many of them without any criminal record at all. So I don't think that the additional help is even needed from the National Guard at this time.
Yeah, what are you hearing from Georgia families right now who feel they could be caught up in all this?
A lot of people are afraid, and it's not just people who are undocumented. Many families are mixed status families, meaning maybe one person is undocumented or has DACA status, and others maybe have green cards or even be citizens. But people are afraid of being picked up just for the way they look. They're afraid of being targeted because they look Latino, for example. And so there's been hesitation to go out and do things that they need to do, even to get medical services, and even fear to send children to school.
Yeah. At least on one hand, the state says that bringing in National Guard troops will help, calm community fears, keep the community safe. And on the other hand, your group raises concerns that this will create fear for immigrant families. Why do you believe the harm outweighs the safety aspect of it?
Well, if we were serious about making things safer for families, we would invest in community violence intervention programs, which this administration has actually taken away funding from in many cities. We would invest in our public health approach, looking at violence as well. But unfortunately, this administration has cut back those violence research programs at the CDC. So additionally, in community, law enforcement made many strides in forming relationships with community so that people felt like they could go and report crimes when they were happening. And now they don't feel that way. The re-implementation of 287G style policies has made people afraid to report even when they're the victims of crime again, including gender-based violence crimes like domestic violence or sexual assault.
Yeah, last week we saw another round of protests at the state capitol. Talk to me about the continued calls for some kind of change here from what's being put into place.
People don't want to see their neighbors being arrested and treated like criminals. People that have been here for 10, 20 years, been part of their communities, have worked hard to bring their families up. They don't want to see that. They've seen what is happening in other cities where people are being pulled out of their cars, their windows broken, and even in some cases this has happened to citizens in other places. And people don't want to see that for their neighbors. So I'm actually really heartened and glad to see folks standing up and saying that this is wrong.
Yeah, we talked to the head of Georgia's Republican Party, Josh McCoon, who about the immigration debate in Georgia. Listen to what he had to say.
People try to make this issue about compassion. Well, I want to ask, where's the compassion in a system or a process that facilitates a black market in labor, where people are being paid black market wages, or people are being trafficked for the purposes of in some cases, work that is not much better than slave labor? We've got to insist on a legal process so that everything's out in the sunshine and people are treated the way they should be treated.
What's your reaction to his statement?
My reaction is that it doesn't have to be one or the other. We can have secure borders and we can have immigration enforcement in a fair and humane way. And what we really need to do is improve policy so that workers aren't being exploited, so that they have an opportunity to be here legally, to get driver's licenses, and to have work permits, and eventually a pathway to citizenship. Congress needs to get busy and fix this problem.
Yeah. If you had a chance to sit down and talk to lawmakers, what would your message be to them?
I would ask them. I would ask them to look at this in a compassionate way, and to think about how we can help protect our labor force as well. You know, the representative you just mentioned spoke about laborers being exploited, and so how can we help make a legal pathway for those people? I know that there are a lot of good ideas, and if they'll just work across the aisle together, we can get it done.
Yeah, Elisa, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for your insight this morning, and appreciate you. Have a great day.